If you have ever struggled with chronic pain, injury recovery, or you wonder how movement can heal your body and not just your body, but your mind also, then today's episode is for you.
Welcome to The Leader's Edge with Jen, where vision meets action. This podcast brings you bold strategies and real insights to sharpen your leadership. Let's get to it and jump right into today's episode.
My guest today is Andrea Davis. She is a highly respected physical therapist, and she is the founder of Davis PTSR. She specializes in helping people move beyond the pain and reclaim their strength through a holistic approach to physical therapy. I am really excited to have her. I've got a little pain I'm dealing with myself. So it is morning. Good morning.
It is.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah. Can you just give us a little tidbit on what inspired you to become a physical therapist?
Well, I mean, the inspiration really comes most of the time from experience. So in high school, unfortunately, I suffered a severe ankle sprain that left me sidelined for sports. I was a 3-sport high school athlete and couldn't walk really. So I had to I suffered an ankle sprain during a softball game in which a catcher sat on my ankle and that didn't go over very well. So between games, they would be putting my foot into seriously, this is old school, bucket of ice and then take my foot out of the ice, tape it up, and I'd go back and play. So after that tournament experience was over, I had to go for formal physical therapy for some torn ligaments. So that was my first introduction.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And I mean, we still do ice therapy. You didn't mean old school in that we don't use ice therapy anymore, but old school in that they just put some dirt on it and stuck you back out there.
Okay. Rub some dirt on it and get back out there. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. So what happens when we do that to our body? Because like, I'm a big David Goggins fan, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that guy, he's all, your leg's broken, your finger's broken, put a rubber band, keep running. So, I mean,
For sure. I mean, it's all different types of approaches really, but the idea is now we know more, the science is much stronger. So some of these things we can get in front of, really. So preventative medicine has been up and coming in the last couple of years and really trying to avoid the non-traumatic injuries, meaning, I sprained my ankle. That was traumatic. There was trauma. Some incident happened. But overuse injuries can most of the time be avoided. So there's definitely strategies around that. So rub some dirt on it. There's a time and place, I think, for that. Like mostly in competition, but not in everyday life for sure.
Yeah, I'm not trying out for the Navy SEALs anytime soon, so I think I'm good. But
no,
yeah,
but that like nagging shoulder thing that you're talking about, it could be nagging. You're just like, meh, whatever. I can still do what I want to do, and then all of a sudden one day it creeps up on you, and you go to put something away, and you're like, wait, I can't get my arm up there, and that's usually how it presents. And then we get called in for the fun.
Well, you see all the comedians, I'm just talking about we hit 40 and it's like, I at my back. What happened? I sneezed, I mean, yeah.
True.
I mean, and that's what I really liked. I mean, you and I chatted a little bit about your approach, and it's different. It's you have your emphasis is on true restoration. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
No, I would love to. So shoulder, right? So you have a shoulder injury, but it may have more to do with back insufficiencies in the muscles, but the symptom is in the shoulder, but the real source and the root of the problem is in the shoulder blade or the upper back musculature. So I built this practice around the idea that it's not just the injury. You really do need to look at the whole person, because a lot of times, especially for active people, you're repeat offenders. So once a shoulder problem, it usually rears its ugly head again and is a little bit worse than the last time. So is it really the shoulder? Is there an insufficiency or an imbalance somewhere else? So that's kind of what we've had fun digging into.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to talk about some of your equipment. That's just amazing. How do you know if you should say you have a shoulder, whatever issue, right? A lot of people have knee pain, for instance.
For sure.
How do you know whether you should rest it or get physical therapy or do a little bit of both?
Well, anytime it's an impedance of function. So most people think that physical therapy is just for pain, like if something hurts.
Right.
But it really has more to do with, we're experts in the science of movement. So an impedance in function or a reduction in function, more challenging going up and down the stairs, maybe not painful, but you're slower, or you have to really be deliberate about where you put your feet. That's really what PT can be helpful for, both preventative and to get ahead of things. So, that perspective that PT's for pain really isn't necessarily true. That's usually the time in which 90% of the population ends up in PT. But, we, at my practice, we really see a significant amount of people that are just like, hey, I had a tweak. Can you check that out and tell me what to do to fix it? Like a one and done type visit, which is pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, and I think a bunch of us, who are, whether you're in the wellness industry or you're just an enthusiast or, it's what they're calling alternative, some alternative approaches, but it's really like a holistic way of looking at things. And so I would estimate that you have to actually do a lot of education, because even someone who's interested in health and fitness like me, I really had never thought to do physical training, physical therapy as a proactive measure. So there's a lot of education there that you have to do.
For sure. We definitely have to educate our patients or educate the public in general, because again, we're mostly seen as a prescribed intervention from a physician. Where I'm located in New Jersey. New Jersey is considered to be what's called a direct access state. So we are a primary care provider in the sense that you could come see me, walk into my office, hey, my shoulder hurts, can you take a look? We absolutely can, and we can treat you for up to 30 days. But you could also come in and say, hey, I'm not really feeling right when I play tennis. Can you check me out? And we've taken the next step to try and help speak to that population by putting data and real life numbers on movement patterns to identify deficiencies before they become problematic and painful.
Yeah, and that is so neat. We were talking about that the other day, and it's very cool. I know you don't have all the time to go into the details of it, but essentially, yeah, you guys are getting all scientific about some, putting sensors on people and then being proactive about preventing things. Tell me a little bit about that.
So it started with, I played sports in high school, and then I was a collegiate athlete and then Division I college coach. And as I was, exploring my career in sports medicine, some of the recurring themes were patients were being released, or athletes and adults were being released back to their activities or their sports way earlier than they potentially should have been with the condition they have. So there was this gap between physical therapy, graduating physical therapy, and moving into your sport or activity, going back to playing tennis or whatever. So injuries are one of the most catastrophic injuries an athlete or a person can experience, because the rehab timeline is anywhere from 9 to 18 months. So insurance companies, unfortunately, only pay for maybe 4 to 5 months out of that. So there was this big hole in finishing PT and going back to play safely and intelligently that the research speaks to extensively. So, my thought was, let's put some numbers on this and let's take a look at it. So what do we need to know about athletes? We need to know they're agile. So let's get something to put numbers on agility. Let's put something on biomechanics, and let's put something on power. So basically just trying to build out the whole athlete so we can manage that continuum and have a communication piece, like between you and myself, Jen. We would put numbers on you and you would know, okay, I'm low in this, but I'm pretty good in this. So this is my focus area. So that's really been the inspiration that has driven us. And we've gone from a very small practice in a 500 square foot office to now we have 3.5 acres of land and 5,000 square feet based on this model of sports science and data application. So it's been a wild ride, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is so neat, to really be able to, you're going against the grain a little bit as far
100%.
as, the type of medicine that, yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, it's definitely been so education is a big part of it. And the truly sad part is you don't know until you know, which usually means you probably dinged yourself up along the way.
Right.
So
you're hurting.
Totally. And then once you see the things that are available, it's like this light bulb, and it's like, oh my God, how did I not know that PT could do this, this, and this? So it's pretty cool. And it's definitely rejuvenated my career. I've been doing this 25 years, and you can only teach somebody straight leg raises or squats so many times in 25 years. So the data application is a new challenge, and we love it.
Yeah. Well, we know how to do squats, but sometimes we just need someone to stand there and watch us, for sure. Yeah. And I know, and it's adorable. I've been on your, your social media sites, and I see a lot of young athletes, and we talked a little bit about how you're really kind of, I don't know if you're targeting them, but you're really attracting a lot of high school and college athletes.
Mm-hmm.
but since I'm not in either of those things, what sort of injuries are you seeing with your more classic clientele? Those
more
born in the
mainstream,
1900s. Yeah.
more mainstream, like in the 1900s, as you would say. Yeah, that's right. I qualify too. So I mean, it's anything from arthritis, of course, is always going to be a big buzzword and topic because there are variable treatments available, but it's a population that we found to be quite underserved. So all the technology things and the data points that we're utilizing to, apply in efficient care plans for the athletes, we're actually beginning a program to reproduce the same thing in the more, as you would say, mainstream population, the general people, so that we can reproduce same thing, like data points. So the best part about the data really is it bridges the gap between what I know to be true as a clinician with, years and years of experience and 3 degrees behind my name, and what you know to be true as a patient or as an athlete that's like, yeah, I feel pretty good, but you're moving terribly, so you're probably going to need me at some point. So those numbers kind of help bridge the gap between what I know to be true and what you feel to be true, which has been a beautiful thing.
Give your brand a boost with Jen's free guide, 3 steps to boost your leadership marketing and brand awareness. Grab the link in the show notes and subscribe to the newsletter.
And just the idea that, I was expressing to you that I went to see a doctor and was saying my mobility and my arms not as good as it used to be. And he's like, yeah.
Did he call you old?
Yeah, I think he was just like, you're pretty old to be doing a back bend anyway. I was like, my arm hurts when I do a back bend. But it's like, at what point do you say, I'm going to stop? I mean, they're good for you. It's good to, bend all the different ways. So, I mean, that's interesting because I think that, again, with the comedians or just with the memes or whatever, we're expecting our mobility to drop off fairly significantly. And it doesn't have to be that way.
It definitely doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, no. And that's why when we were talking off camera, I was like, they didn't say that to you, did they? But they did. And we hear that a lot, and it's a big part of just listening. So I had a power weightlifter when I first started my practice 2000, and he came in, he just popped in. He's like, listen, he was straight up. I've been to 4 other PT places. My shoulder is bothering me. And the response that they told me every time is stop lifting such heavy weights. And I was like, all right, bud, well, let's take a look at this and let's kind of deconstruct this. And you could actually physically see as he was going through his overhead lift that one shoulder was higher than the other one. So I prescribed him maybe 3 or 4 exercises. They were small exercises because he was doing the big loads, and they were small exercises. And within about 3 weeks, he was doing that load, no pain.
Wow.
So he was so grateful. And so he's like, everybody else told me just stop lifting. I don't want to stop lifting. This is the thing I love to do. It makes me happy. I get stress relief out of it. So I go back to that often when I have these dialogues because there's no reason. Like there really is no reason. Like usually if you want to do a back bend, unless you have a rod implanted in your back, we should make every attempt to get you back to doing what you want to do. So that's where some of that disconnect is, and it drives me bananas. And I'm always happy to talk about it for sure.
I bet. So basically, you just think from your experiences why you've kind of diverged or your physical therapy program has really blossomed into this holistic approach. What other aspects are you finding that, especially with, let's just say people over 40, how do these things tie in as far as being holistic with their sleep and their stress and their diet?
All of it. Okay. Yeah, for sure. And especially women over 40, we start talking about, premenopause, perimenopause, and approaching that, which is a hot topic now as I'm in my 40s.
Literally.
And yeah, no, for sure. And nobody preps you for these things.
I know, that's so true. I'm all, what? Yeah.
Nobody tells you, except maybe your girlfriends behind closed doors, they say something. But no, just listen, we try to meet people as PTs. We should be trying to meet people where they are, and then pulling from our experience wheel or our toolbox, really trying to provide a path or a roadmap to get you where you want to go. So I was here, now I'm here. How can you get me at least back to here and then maybe further? And one of the really wonderful things that we've experienced is the generational care, which is we've treated whole families. So we've treated the young athlete, we've treated the parent, the mom, the dad, the grandparent. I mean, it's a beautiful thing really to be able, my office is upstairs, but to be able to walk downstairs. I still see families that I treated when they were little kids, and they're grown-ups now with their own families. And just that ease of back and forth, they feel in this world of commercialized medicine, which is, a bold statement on my part. There's something about knowing who you talk to, knowing that they're listening. And when they leave, feeling that they were heard and that somebody's taking them seriously to do something about it. Because I think the over 40 population, one of the most dismissed populations other than over 60 for sure.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, here, take a pill. And it's like, well, is that going
or just
to
don't do that.
give me different problems? Right. Or, I mean, right, exactly. I mean, just whatever it is, it's like, no, I don't want that because I believe that the body can heal it. So it's designed to heal itself given the right conditions. So I love that you're talking with people about that. I know that people are going to hear this and not live in New Jersey and be bummed that they can't visit you. Well, I know you said you're working on some online courses, and
we are working on telehealth programming and all of that. So yes, for sure. But always open for consults and conversations via, social media, email is fine. Because I really believe we're trying to change what PT means to the general population and just, healthcare in general. Right. And really driving this idea where you should expect more. I mean, we're coming from a day I straddled the era of paper and electronic medical records, right? Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah. So I remember how easy it was to sit and talk with the patient and write my notes and have a good relationship with them. And now sometimes I go to the doctor and they're not even paying attention.
Right.
So, trying to bring that back around, and that we should expect that. It is our health. It is our longevity. It is our life. We only get one of these, so we might as well live it to the best we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. It really, I was saying the other day, you almost, at least in our current climate, it's like you almost have to kind of be a health and wellness nut to just navigate. I mean, you really have to educate yourself because we've not gotten it, and some of the education we got was, there's a medication that I took. I'll just say it was a birth control medication that I took many years ago. And I remember asking my doctor, anyway, now my Instagram is saying, do you have a brain tumor? If you took this birth control, contact us because we might be able to. And I'm like, what? It was, bad for me.
Yeah.
So
I know.
You really, because at the end of the day, it's like it's just you and it's just your body, right?
Well, it is. And it's also the changing landscape, really. I mean, family physicians there's a higher burden of proof to get reimbursed. Insurance companies, we could talk all day on the business side of healthcare to begin with, but you're in the business of taking care of people. And we need to be actively taking care of people and not in a treat them and street them kind of way. And that's, everything that's fast isn't always better. But there are ways to trust that, efficiency also includes care and concern around that. So that's something that we pride ourselves on, and we think we do a very good job of vetting things to make sure that it is efficient, but it's also based in science and takes the person into consideration. So.
Well, absolutely. I've read your reviews, so I know people just love you. And to speak of, you're having people bring their families. I mean, that just speaks. Because that's really putting your money where your mouth is. It's like, I can't think of, you love your family so much. So, that's
fun.
just,
yeah, it really is fun. I mean, people are fun if you get them a chance. People in pain can be cranky, but it's usually not because of you. So, it's, I do enjoy being around it for sure, and providing a platform now for the next generation of PTs to rise up and make a difference here. So
absolutely. That's exciting. Yeah. Really, focusing on wellness. I think it would be really great if we all just kind of move in that direction.
Yes, ma'am.
What are some movements or daily habits? Is there something people that, again, don't live in New Jersey and they're down with what you're saying and they're like, I need to get a little bit proactive. Are there some, best exercises that, I don't know, what just popped in my head is like when you're squatting, you're just completely squatting almost to the ground. And like, I read somewhere that we should be able to do that because like our ancestors that didn't have chairs, they just like made things on the ground by squatting. But not that many.
No, well, that's mostly hip mobility usually for deep squat like that. But I mean, walking and cardio is going to be the best thing all the time. Walking, if you have arthritic knees, the pool is going to be a better situation. There are some gyms and health facilities like ourselves that have something called the Alter G, which is basically it's an inflatable bag that wraps around a treadmill that unweights you up to 50 to 80% of your body weight. So you can walk without the compression of the arthritis, and you can get your cardio that way, because that usually stops people. Pain is the end all be all of reducing activity, and not addressing it is a surefire way for continued decline. So walking, swimming, biking, hands down, stationary bike or otherwise. But even something that's called like similar to a squat, but it's called a sit to stand from a chair. It's quite simply sitting in a chair, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, and doing some leg raises in bed before you even get out of bed. Like lifting doing when you're laying, just lift your leg up and down, keeping it nice and straight. So there's any kind of movement is going to be helpful. Movement that triggers pain usually should get looked at after about a week or two if it's not resolving.
Yeah, that's a sign. One of my questions is like, how should people, know that they need to come see you? And it's like, well, when you're hurting, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious one, but
I guess we're talking about.
For sure. I've noticed, we have a lot, we call them repeat offenders in like the joking manner, but, where they don't want to go through what they went through already. So if it starts whispering to them where it's tweaking, a call to the office or just a pop in, hey, look at this. And honestly, if you catch it early enough, most things can be resolved with 2 to 3 simple exercises if they were non-traumatic. Because most of the time it's a repetitive stress that you're not even recognizing that you're doing, right? Like weeding the grass, bending over, pulling things out, or, painting. My elbow hurts, that can blow up into a bigger deal. So, about 2 weeks, if it's not resolved, probably should start looking into it, stretching.
Okay. All right. No, that's really good. So is there, I know I just basically asked you for a tactical solution, but is there anything else? I mean, just a takeaway, the way that you look at physical therapy, or just, one takeaway that you want people, one piece of advice you want people to, if they're walking away from this and they can't go see you in New Jersey, what's a good concept?
Yeah, so it definitely, so PT isn't just for pain, it's for movement and function. So that's definitely the main key point takeaway, but it also should be a collaboration for your goals. It's not my goals. I mean, I know, but what do you want to do, Jen? Right. Like, let's talk about what you want to do and what success looks like to you. Because it might be very different than what it looks like for me. You come in with a shoulder problem. You may only want to be able to put your jacket on and take it off without any issues, and I want you to do a 1-arm push-up. So you have to get aligned. If you're interviewing PTs, isn't a bad thing. If you don't feel your PT is listening to you, that's a huge red flag. To put that out there and be like, I'm not sure this is working for me, and to be proactive for themselves. You can change providers. You are allowed to advocate for yourself, and anyone that tells you differently doesn't truly have your best interests at heart. I've told people, I think, this other therapist will fit you better because they have more experience in what you need. And that's you. It's one of the reasons why I think I've built such a solid reputation is honesty and transparency. So that's what you should be looking for.
Absolutely. And when you were saying that, I was just thinking about how we were connected through Justin, who is another honest and transparent person. So birds of a feather flock together.
They do. I know, it's fun though.
Yeah. And good things happen. No, that's fantastic. So how can people get in touch with you? Obviously, if they're in New Jersey, they can go visit you. Where can people connect with you if they're virtual or they do want to chat with you virtually?
Sure. So email address is my first name, Andrea, Andrea, at Davis PTSR.com. We have an Instagram handle also, which is at Davis PTSR. So those are the
notes also. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, that's it for this episode. My goodness. I want to ask you so much more about just being proactive, because Wow, wouldn't that be amazing if the second half of my life could be as painless as the first half of my life. That would be really awesome.
Oh, from your words, right? That would be amazing. No, you're a great host. So great questions. Thank you.
Well, I really appreciated you being on, and I know that
Pleasure.
people are going to want to find out more. And so again, I'll put the link in the show notes, and I will see all of you next time. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Bye. Thank you.
That's a wrap for the Leader's Edge with Jen. Subscribe, share, and visit the show notes for the links mentioned. Stay bold, stay sharp, and don't lose your edge.